Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Politics is a very interesting game. And for those who've been following this channel, I've always stated that there are two constants in politics. The first constant in politics is interest. As long as interest can converge, politicians can always work together. Who would have imagined that Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta were going to work together? Nobody. They worked together. Who would have imagined that Ruto and Uhuru were not going to work together? They parted ways because their interests were not converging. The second constant in politics is betrayal. And it's normally the norm of the day. Raila Odinga is the biggest casualty of betrayal in politics, which takes us to the subject of this video today. James Ongwae, who served as the governor for Kisii for 2 terms on ODM ticket, has betrayed Raila Odinga. For those who understand the politics of Ongwae, Ongwae in 2013 was actually the campaign manager for Raila Odinga. And when Raila Odinga realized that there was no serious candidate for the position of the governor, he prevailed upon Ongwae to go and contest. He provided everything for Ongwae. Ongwae ended up winning and served for 2 good terms. Ongwae today took a delegation to William Ruto just a few days after Raila Odinga lost the election. The second person who has betrayed Raila Odinga is Janet Ongera. Although some of us, it's not surprising. Personally, for those who follow me, especially when I was actively involved in ODM politics, I always insisted that Janet Ongera was William Ruto's person, because if you study the history, her history, how she came on board into ODM, she came through Ruto. But that's normally politics. But Janet Ongera was first made executive director of ODM party 2007 to 2013. Then she was nominated to the Senate 2013, 2017. Janet Ongera was then elected on ODM ticket as the women rep. In Kisii, Janet Ongera is the main cause why ODM party lost so many seats in the area. People like Kosoro can confess and tell you that it is because of Janet Ongera that they left ODM party. So Janet Ongera was the law in Kisii. So in the last election, Janet Ongera was defeated, actually using ODM. She was the ODM candidate, but Arati and the team aligned themselves with the Wepa candidate. So she has also betrayed Raila Odinga. So in this video, I want us to look at that particular defection of Ongwae and Janet Ongera specifically, because there were several others, but those other ones, you can't say that they betrayed Raila Odinga. For example, Jimmy Makwiny has never been with Raila Odinga. He's been Uhuru Kenyatta's person, but they two. But before we get into all those details, in case you're watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Now, let us get back to the main issue. Just a minute. Sorry, I was just fixing some lighting here. Now, let us get back to the main issue. For me, I tend to think that the defection of Ongwae, the defection of Ongera, is a good lesson for Raila Odinga. Why am I saying so? You know, Raila Odinga has always been betrayed by so many people. Why? Because number one, Raila Odinga hardly empowers loyalists. There are people who have stood with Raila Odinga since 1992. I am glad personally, I am happy, extremely happy, that if you look at the Nairobi County Assembly, their youth have stood with Raila Odinga, and this time around Raila Odinga decided that those youths were going to be given the ODM ticket. I can talk of Ongera, I can talk of Absalom Tulo, I can talk of Lawi, I can talk of, there are so many of them who are just given ODM ticket. You go, whether you win or not. In Kisumu here, I know my friend Adwinyang has stood with the party. But if you look at the people ODM has always rewarded and ended up betraying him are funny. ODM nominated a guy by the name Isaac Mwaura. Isaac Mwaura ended up betraying Raila. Raila Odinga ended up with the egg on his face. Raila Odinga also nominated Rachel Shebesh. Although Shebesh later supported Raila Odinga in the election, but immediately after that, he used that nomination to jump to Jubilee when Raila Odinga really needed Rachel Shebesh at that time. So it's a lesson to Raila Odinga that he needs to really reward loyalists, people who have stood with him. Sometimes Raila Odinga can even just look around and like in the coastal region, there's so many people who have stood with him. In the last nomination list, I even saw someone like Chebeni, who was appearing on the scene for the first time. That's why Raila Odinga is siding with people who end up betraying him, because those people really don't believe in his cause. There's a time Ledamo Lekina, people thought he was going to leave. But I interacted with Ledamo Lekina when I was working at BBI Secretariat. And that's one guy who really and sincerely and honestly believes in Raila Odinga. As we talk today, Ledamo Lekina is one of the guys who are still sticking with Raila Odinga. So I would expect Raila Odinga to continue rewarding people like those, or the ODM party. So it's a warning that sometimes, if, for example, Isaac Mwaura was to be nominated because he's disabled, there are so many disabled people who would have been nominated, for example, within ODM party, who believed in the party. Number two, it's also a good lesson that there is nothing like loyalty in politics. It's all about interest. So sometimes when Raila Odinga is being pushed to campaign for 6Ps, I see it as something which is good, but it doesn't really make meaning to me, because some of these people end up betraying Raila Odinga. As we speak, I'm being told that there's a high-profile Raila Odinga close ally who is likely to shift camp. I'm just gathering information, then I'll come public with it. But why would someone like Ongwae, someone like Janet Ongera, dump Raila Odinga when Raila Odinga needs them most? In my view, they're doing that because of these 5 reasons. Number one, I think there is post-election realignments. Normally, after elections, there's normally realignment, which is expected. You can't convince me that if Raila Odinga had won, that there were people from Rift Valley who would not join him. That's expected. That there are people who failed in Mount Kenya, supported Ruto, and are joining him. Those are post-election violence. Post-election realignment. People are looking where they can fit. And because Raila Odinga has been defeated and William Ruto is going to be the next president, it means the only person who can appoint people like Ongwae to boards, to committees, is none other than William Ruto, because now he has the power. So that post-election realignment is why these guys are trooping, in my view, to William Ruto's side. Number two, I also tend to think that Ongwae specifically is not happy that Simba Arati defeated him. And when Simba Arati took over from office, the first statement of Simba Arati was that he was going to deal with ghost workers. And he went to the transport department and told them, I want you guys to stand next to your vehicle. So after that, he realized that there were close to 800 and something ghost workers. Now, these are people who are drawing salary from government and they're not working. And if it's stressed, some of them are even fictitious. Someone just created the names, so money is going back to their accounts. And because William Ruto is the current president of the Republic of Kenya, someone like Ongwae fears that the direction Arati is taking might land him into problems, corruption. So how can he evade being charged with corruption? Align yourself with Ruto, so that tomorrow when Simbarati will unearth more and say, okay, I'm taking you to court over this, you sold this and this, he will say that that's happening because he's now with William Samoei Arap Ruto. So I think he's trying to shield himself from corruption cases. Number 3, in my view, I think it's also part of William Ruto's strategy to isolate Raila Odinga. What do I mean? The truth of the matter is that Raila Odinga enjoys support from across the country. And by the way, Raila Odinga is already in London, where he's going to stay for some time. I don't know for how long, but he's already out of the country. And for me, I would suggest to go and have some rest. Let's say even if it's 3 months, just have a rest. Then he can come back and maybe chart a way forward. So I'm saying that William Ruto, I think, is keen on isolating Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga enjoys support from across the country. So William Ruto would want a situation where he isolates Raila Odinga so that he can win legitimacy. Because remember, the number of people who failed to vote are more than the votes William Ruto got. Then Raila Odinga's votes are also there. So 8 million people never voted. Raila Odinga got close to 7 million. If you add that, and now what Ruto got, this legitimate issues. So to go around that, the deputy president is now going to Raila Odinga's strongholds. Kisii, where he failed, have Ongwae. Then you go to Coast, have people like that. I'm told he's also trying to win the support of Joho. You go to Western, have those who are still supporting Raila Odinga, have them on your side. So basically, it's trying to isolate Raila Odinga with the aim of winning support for his own presidency. And lastly, I think the Simba Arati factor is something which is worrying Ongwae. You know, Ongwae wanted to control who becomes the governor for Kisii. And I remember when ODM held its last rally in Kisii and chaos broke out, what Ongwae and Ongera and the team, the powerful team, wanted. They wanted a situation where Simba Arati is prevailed upon not to contest. But Ongwae believes very strongly that Arati was Raila Odinga's project. Otherwise, there was no way Arati would have left Nairobi without Raila Odinga's blessings. So probably Raila Odinga also wanted to do away with Ongwae and the team, but he couldn't do. So that Simba Arati factor is what is worrying Ongwae. Because if you look at it, Simba Arati is a young man. Ongwae is old. Even if you give Ongwae another chance in 5 years, he won't be a governor. Ongera is out. So which means strategically, Raila Odinga has now stamped a new generation of leaders in Kisii. And someone like Arati is loyal to Raila Odinga. I don't think, as much as he can work with Ruto, I'm not ruling out the possibility. But I think even moving forward, is one guy who will easily support the cause of Raila Amolo Odinga. I don't know what you think. That's my take. In case you're watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Bye-bye.